Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Keep It Private, my new podcast where absolutely nothing is kept private. In this episode, I'll be telling you all of the wildest stories and experiences that took place whilst I was living in LA. These include me getting kicked out of an Airbnb as I got accused of being an OnlyFans model and hiring men for sex and inviting them over. That's story number one. Also, the reality of influencer parties in LA, which were not what you would expect. They're actually very, very dark, and I witnessed some wild things at these parties. How I dated a billionaire whilst I was out there, and what that experience was like, and why billionaires scare me to death now. And just to sum it all up, how I ended up leaving early because I had a mental breakdown and needed to get the fuck out. So, hopefully you're prepared for this episode. Let's go. So when I get to LA, I check into an Airbnb, and I was planning to stay in a few different Airbnbs whilst I was in LA. But for the first few months, I had booked, or for the first month or so, I had booked to stay in this Airbnb, and it looked gorgeous. It was like a studio Airbnb, but it was architecturally designed. So it was designed by an architect and it was beautiful. When I booked it, I could see that there was like chicken coops outside. So I was like, damn, if I'd just jump the fence, I have like 3 eggs every morning, like ready made as well, straight from the source. And it was quite intense because there were CCTV cameras set up, like 2 separate ones with microphones attached right outside the Airbnb. So I was already a little bit on edge when I got there. Did I expect by the end of it for the Airbnb male host to knock on the door at 10 a.m., me to answer in skimpy pajamas, and him to barge through the house searching the entire property, suspicious of me? No. Basically, I was out in LA and my friend Spencer also flew to LA because he signed with a music label out there, or he was at the time. And basically it wasn't just Spencer that was out there because we both had a mutual friend called Rosie that lived out in LA. So I spent all of my time with her. There were also 2 guys that were out there from the UK that flew out to LA, and they were called Adam and Luke, and they were really close friends with Spencer, and Adam was really close with Rosie, and so we all joined forces and made a big group. And one night, after a few weeks of me staying in this Airbnb, we went to Delilah's for a meal because it was Luke's 30th birthday. I'll insert some clips of that. It was actually such a jokes meal. Like, there was so many of us as well. It was a really nice vibe. It was also Luke's final day in LA, and we'd all been hanging out there for a few weeks together. So it was kind of last night vibes. We were like, let's just go back to my Airbnb. So me, Spencer, Rosie, Luke, and Adam all came back to my Airbnb. I also wanted to show them it, and they wanted to see it because it was like just such a cool design kind of thing. So we came back to my Airbnb. Bearing in mind, we played no music. 0 music was played. So we were on best behavior. We were just sat there, wholesome vibes. I'm pretty sure the TV was on in the background, like literally playing like a cartoon show or something like that. And we were just all there sitting and chatting, having deep conversations and stuff. Like, it was a really cute vibe. And we were being so quiet as well. Like, no noise was made. And what happened was basically, as I said, there were CCTV cameras outside the Airbnb, one right outside my door and one just a bit further down the lane. So anyone that came in or out of the Airbnb were obviously on record. And I didn't realize that these Airbnb hosts were literally watching me like a hawk the whole time. But what had happened was Spencer left first, probably within half an hour of us getting there. And then Adam left a few hours later. And then Luke left a few hours after that. I think Luke left at like 4 a.m. But Rosie ended up staying because she just slept at mine. So she stayed at the Airbnb. We had a little girly sleepover, went to bed, went to sleep. At 10 a.m., I wake up to over and over again on the door for this Airbnb. So I'm there like awoken from my sleep. First of all, don't fucking wake me up from my sleep like that. It's rude, and I will instantly be in an awful mood because I value my sleep a lot. Anyway, I'm also in skimpy pajamas, but because I'm half asleep, I'm just like, whatever this is, like, what is going on? I honestly thought it might have been one of the guys or something like that. Like, I was like, what has happened? Or like one of the other girls that I knew in LA. I just had no idea. I open the door and it is the male Airbnb host that obviously stayed in the main house, like in his back garden, or I was staying in his back garden. I open the door and I'm like, hello? He barges in. He barges in and starts searching the property, start to finish, opening wardrobes, opening drawers, going in the bathroom, busting the door open. My friend Rosie is literally asleep in the bed and doesn't even twitch. And he's like, what's going on here? What's going on? Something's going on here. Don't think you're getting away with this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, huh? And he's like, my wife is going to call you in an hour. You need to be on your phone and answer it. And then walks out and slams the door. Fucking rude, first of all. But that wasn't even the worst part. I thought he was rude. Wait until I fucking met Godzilla, his wife, calling me an hour later on the phone. I have never been spoken to like this before. Actually, I probably have, but like, she just pissed me off the most. And also, before he left, by the way, he turns around and says to me, you need to pack your shit up and get out. My wife's gonna call you in an hour. And I was like, okay, like, what is your issue, first of all? Bearing in mind, this Airbnb did not say anything about having guests over. They had a no party rule. Completely fair enough. Did I throw a party? Not even close. You're fucking lucky I didn't throw a party, because when I do, like, you'll have known. Like, that speaker will have been on full blast. I thought about it, but like, I wasn't gonna do it, you know? So, about half an hour later, I get a call on my phone from an unknown American number, and I'm like, all right, here she is. So I answer the phone, and she is on smoke the moment I answer this call. She goes, I don't know if you're stupid, but on Airbnb it says that you cannot have guests over. And I was like, I've had one guest over that has stayed, and it was my friend Rosie. Like, I had other people over, but like, we weren't having a party or anything. It was just us. She goes, don't think that I'm fucking stupid, okay? I know what girls like you do in LA. I was like, girls like me? I was like, oh, do you? What do girls like me do in LA then? And she was like, you girls and all your OnlyFans and your sugar daddies funding your lifestyles. Don't think I'm stupid. I know what girls like you are doing here. Huh? She's like, I go, first of all, watch your mouth. Second of all, I do not do that. I don't have an OnlyFans, and you know nothing about me. She goes, I saw 3 men leave your Airbnb last night at separate times. I know what was going on. Oh my God. She had seen my 3 guy friends leave after I'd all had them over for like a little thing the night before with Rosie. Like, there was a group of 5 of us, and she's there acting like I invited them over for one big orgy and got paid for it. Like, girl, watch your fucking mouth, first of all. Also, like, clearly you've been thinking about it yourself. Like, sorry if your husband ain't doing it right, but don't project onto me. Thank you. She also says to me on the phone, she's like, and it's not just that. I've seen you on the CCTV camera come in at 5 a.m. on the weekends. You've been coming back, making a racket on this neighborhood. I was like, oh, so by the way, if that voice is annoying you, sorry, but like, that's what I had in my ear, so I'm having to recreate it. And I was like, oh my God, sorry, Mom. Coming in at 5 a.m., acting like I'm waking up the whole neighborhood. Coming back alone, by the way, obviously. I don't sleep around. So I come back and I'm literally walking back to the Airbnb, and she's accusing me of making a whole racket as if I'm coming back from a night out with a saxophone in my hand, playing it for the whole neighborhood. No. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm wearing heels and I'm clip-clopping a little bit like Miss Piggy, but like, I can't help that. You know what I mean? I've got to walk home somehow. It's either that or I take my heels off. To be fair, I probably did take my heels off a few of the night. So like, I don't know what she was crying about. Anyway, we're talking on the phone, and she says to me as well, by the way, she goes, And also, whoever you use to book your Airbnb account, I know what girls like you do. She was like, with your sugar daddies, like God knows who that man was that booked your Airbnb for you. Ew, my stepdad, first of all. So don't even put those thoughts in my mind because that's disgusting. And watch your goddamn mouth. Literally, my stepdad helped me book the Airbnb because, yeah, my other Airbnb account did get banned like 6 years ago for like vandalizing a property. But that wasn't me. It was my friends. I threw a party and now I'm just guilty. I'm going to shut the fuck up. I swear to God, though, I did not throw a party at that Airbnb, though. That one I did not even close. And I put that on God. So we're talking on the phone and I say to her, and she's like, and I'm trying to be as nice as possible at this point because I'm trying to get something figured out, and she's just going at it, yap on the phone, like, just shut up. Anyway, I say to her, I'm so sorry, there has been a misunderstanding. I did not make any noise last night. There was no party going on. Like, did you hear music? She was like, no, but it doesn't matter because I know that you were. Like, shut up. Anyway, we're still talking, and then she says to me, she's like, I'm like asking her, like trying to like reason with her to be like, please, can I stay in this Airbnb? I can't be bothered to be kicked out and like have to find another place to stay. Like, you know, it's just a bit too much. And she's like, fine, you can stay in this Airbnb. But she was like, you have to but you are going to be required to transfer me $1,000 on PayPal for an inconvenience fee. An inconvenience fee. You're fucking inconveniencing me. So I'm just like, oh, like, I'm not sure. I was like, can I have half an hour to just think about it, like, and call you back? She was like, fine, half an hour maximum. I'm like, okay. Like, also, she's like 50 years old, like Karen in my ear yapping. So I put the phone down and I think about it for like half an hour. My friend Rosie is there and we are in disbelief. I actually have some videos from Snapchat of us in the car after I ended up getting kicked out, just like talking about the situation. So I'll insert that on screen. I call her back half an hour later. Or actually, she calls me back, like impatient as hell. And she's like, so? And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna like transfer the money on PayPal. I think it's best for me to just go. And she interrupts me and she goes, you know what? Just get the fuck out. Seriously, just get out. I cannot deal with this situation anymore. Just get out. Oh my God. I was like, damn. She goes, if you're not out of this Airbnb within the next hour, I'm calling the police. Damn. Fucking go. What is going on? Like, call in the damn police. What are you going to tell them? Hi, this girl's paid to stay in my Airbnb and she had some friends over last night and I think she is an OnlyFans whore. So please, can you come and kick her out for me? Go. It's LA. I think the police have bigger fish to fry than a girl in your Airbnb. So anyway, I check out and I book myself into a different Airbnb. And I did actually end up getting half my money back from that Airbnb for the days that I didn't stay there. Not because she gave it to me, because Airbnb automatically did it. I started making more friends in the influencer world when I was in LA. And I started going to like after parties in LA. And I had a very certain expectation for LA parties, like parties in the Hollywood Hills and just everyone having a good time. I used to see house parties from LA back in 2017 where they'd be playing like Sheck West and like everyone would be like jumping on the balconies and everything. And I thought that it was going to be like that. It was crazy. I don't know if I just got in with the wrong people or something, but these parties in LA, first of all, to go to the pre-parties, you had to show your follower count before you got in. And if you didn't have a minimum of either 500,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers sometimes, got in. Anyway, you weren't allowed in the party, but it was crazy to witness. Also, you guys might have heard like people like Bad Baby tell stories about how they will take blood from you before you go into a party and like you can't enter unless you give them like a prick of blood. Catch me dead doing any of that. I'd heard of parties where that was required, like literally like Epstein vibe parties, but also like you're taking my blood. Ain't no way. Like, I don't even want to think what you're doing with that, but like I have some sort of ideas. So anyway, the after parties after the other parties, which weren't taking my blood or anything like that, I were not getting wholesome house party energy. there was not that many people there, but there was a lot of influencers that I knew that were very, very well known online. Okay. And I'm the kind of person that will end up staying at an after party until like 3 or 4 a.m. And as the hours went by, the crowd just started getting more and more weird. Like their energy just switched quite a bit. Like the group started to get smaller. People were coming in that were very like wild in the head and like very crazy, definitely on something as well. There was paraphernalia everywhere in this Airbnb, like everywhere. And like that didn't really surprise me or shock me, like shock horror, you know what I mean? I'm in LA, like it's kind of known for that. But at the end of the night, I left, right? And there was this one guy that I'd been dating whilst I was in LA. And basically he'd come back to my Airbnb. I'd been seeing him for like a good few weeks. Actually, since I was like out in LA, to be fair, the previous time. So it'd been like a while. And we left together and his friend stayed there. And then the next morning he FaceTimes his friend and his friend was still at the party and everyone had had a huge orgy. Like, and I, after the phone call, said to him, is that not wild? Like, but it makes sense. But you have to understand that the group that was there, the influencers and the vibe of them, like the thought that they all had an orgy together. And I know like who all the people were is just absolutely crazy to me because there was just like, it was a pick and mix of people, if you know what I mean. Like I actually blew my mind a little bit. I just couldn't believe it just because from seeing them online, I just would not expect that. And I asked him after the phone call, I was like, are you crazy? I was like, it's one thing if it was just like after like a friend had been at a club or whatever, if you go to the Boxer in the UK and they'd gone into like a Red Room or something and been like, oh my God, like everyone like got together. I would have been like, oh, that was a wild night, whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not too shocked that happened. But this was just, the group was just mind blown. But just speaking about the partying scene in LA, another little story that I think is worth mentioning was one time I was clubbing in LA and it was like when I'd returned to LA and this was after I had lost all the money and like got kicked out of the Airbnb and all that kind of stuff. Like it all just came into one. And there was this guy like at the club and he was talking to me and I was just kind of like a bit flippant with him. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, like, I don't know, just like, don't talk to me, but whatever. And I think he could obviously tell the vibes that I was giving, which was like, no. And then he was like, how's your experience been? And you know, when you're just kind of not playing with someone, but I'm just being blunt and I'm just like saying anything that comes to my head. Because sometimes I enjoy talking to people, but I'm just like playing a game with myself kind of thing. So he was asking me how LA was. And I was like, I'd give it a 4 out of 10. He was like, why? Like, why is it not that good? And I was like, I basically lost loads of money because I got kicked out of an Airbnb, accused of being a whore, by the way. Got kicked out of my Airbnb and I didn't get any of my money back and got like thousands of pounds sent down the drain. I was like, so not great. Then he asked me what my PayPal is, like out of nowhere. He was like, what's your PayPal? And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, what is going on? I was like, obviously I'll give him my PayPal though. Like, you joking me? Like, I'm not signing no contracts here, but like, well, here's my PayPal. Do what you will with it. Do you know what I mean? I give him my PayPal. I get a notification through on my phone like 2 minutes later. And this boy had sent me like 1.2 thousand pounds, by the way, which was like what, 1.5k dollars. And he was like, there you go. He was like, but he was like, there you go. He was like, it makes me like sad that happened to you. And I was like, okay. I was like, thank you so much. But I was also terrified because I was like, is he going to kidnap me now and think that he has a right to because he just gave me money or something? I'm like, damn, I am a prostitute. I'm like, she was right. I'm like, I didn't even ask to be though. No, he literally just sent me that money and then walked off and left me to it and never spoke to me again, which was absolutely wild. But this is the reason why he said he sent me the money, right? So he was like really rich and like into like, I don't even know what he did. I didn't even talk to him for long enough, but like he did like something mad like in like just crypto, but crypto smart stuff. I don't know. He was just like tapped into something. Before he left he was like, I don't want anything for the money, by the way. It's just so refreshing to meet like someone like you in LA. He was like, I'm actually a sapiosexual. Do you know what that is? And I was like, oh my God, he's into like chains or something. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, no, what is it? And he's like, I'm attracted to intelligence. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks, I think. And then he walked off and was just like, it's lovely to meet you. Like, I wish you the best from when you're in LA and stuff. And I was like, all right, damn. And the last two little stories that I have from when I was in LA, these are the ones I think you guys will find the most interesting, are some people that I dated. So I am not really one to date. I never really date or like go on dates. I think I have done it in the past, but it takes a lot for me to like someone. Like, it takes a lot for me to like someone. I also can't even use Hinge. Like, I had a brand deal with Hinge and I was like using Hinge, and I literally would like 1 in 1,000 people because something had put me off. Like, it was just like, I felt like they were just all cartoon characters. I was like scrolling through and I just like couldn't trust it. So it was quite rare for me. But since I was in LA, I was like, you know what? Like, I might just go on a few dates. So I think I went on like 7 dates in a few weeks when I was in LA. And I literally never really saw any of them again. Like, they'd message me and I just ghost them. Like, I was so awful with that. I wouldn't even have the respect to be like, hi, it's been nice, but like, I'm not going to take this further. I would just ignore them. But also, like, you get the point. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the nicest way or the most simple way to be like, no. Anyway, this guy, I had fancied him for so long, and he DM'd me, and he's a Netflix actor, right? And he is gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous, which absolutely blows my mind what happened next, which I'll tell you because this is wild. I just still can't believe it. It doesn't make sense to me, but it makes me think he's an actual weirdo. So he is in so many compilations. He gets so many edits made of him. He is gorgeous. Like, he's just tall, dark, handsome, Netflix actor, so many followers, like, that are mainly like girls, like thirsting over him, like me included as well, because I was like, he is gorgeous, he's so hot, like I like his vibe, even though it seemed like he was a little bit brain dead in his interviews, but I was like, I can deal with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll meet him and just like see what the vibes are. So he DMs me and I'm like, oh my God, like when I'm out in LA, I'm like, nice. So I DM him back and we're chatting and he wants to meet up with me, and he's like, are you staying in LA by yourself? And I was like, yeah. He was like, can I come and see you? And I was like, can I come to your hotel? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, we can have like a drink, like or whatever in your hotel. And I was like, okay. I was like, you want to come to my hotel? I was like, that's just also like a bit random. I don't know. He was just already giving random, slightly weird vibes. And then we're talking more, and he's like, he suddenly out of nowhere scraps the drink idea, right? And he goes, I'm not going to be able to get there until later. He was like, can I come to your hotel room? And I was like, okay, this is weird now. Bearing in mind, this is a guy with millions of followers in Netflix shows, films, series, so much. Every girl online is thirsting over him, right? So I'm so confused at what happens next. He then says to me, he's like, what are you going to wear when I get there? You know what? I'm going to get the DMs up because it's actually crazy.
Wait, who is it? Who's that?
Search him up.
Oh my God. He's so hot. Jesus Christ.
Wait until you hear this next bit. Oh, this is what happened. So I DM him. He'd already DM'd me and I was in LA and I was like, hey, handsome, are you in LA? And he replies and goes, a year later, ... shocked emoji. Lol, I am. And because I'd like not replied for a year. But I was like, well, I'm in LA now. And I was like, I'm back and better than ever. And I was like, only until Sunday though, if you want to come see me. And he was like, depends. Where are you staying? And that's how we were like having the conversation. And then he's saying that, because I'm saying we're having the whole thing about him coming over to my hotel for drinks, and the drinks idea gets scrapped. And I'm like, okay. And then he was like, and then I was like, one hotel, West Hollywood. I was like, I'm worth the travel. That's not me trying to be sexual, by the way. That was me just like flirting, like just being like, I'm worth the travel, like in general. And obviously I didn't expect him to escalate to this. So he goes, How so, baby? And I was like, my vibes don't disappoint. And then he replied and went, I might want a little more than vibes, lover, with a prayer emoji or like a man like praying on the floor. I'm like, don't bring God into this with what the shit you were saying, boy. And then I go and he replies, yeah, like rolling eye emoji, lol, about like, you know what I mean? I'm like, my vibes are good. And then I was like, don't roll your eyes. And then he replied and goes, I want to see you down in front of me looking at me with those eyes. Okay. Ew. I'm scared now. Like, no. And he goes, and then I don't reply, right? I just see the message and I don't reply. And he's like having a conversation with himself because 5 minutes later, he sends me another message and goes, need you to eat this dick for me while you're down there, my love. I swear to God. And he like, I read that and I don't even open it because I'm like, I'm actually terrified now. Like that, because the reason why I'm terrified, right? Like that's genuinely terrifying behavior because you have millions of followers. You are drop dead, gorgeous, stunning. Everyone thirsts over you online, right? You are rich, famous, have any girl that you want, like successful. You are like on Netflix, Amazon, every single fucking like films, everything. You're online, you know, you're very known, you're famous as hell, boy. And he is with his chest sending me messages like, want to see you down there eating this dick for me, love. Like, what? You haven't even done like a CV check on me, like to see if I'm not going to screenshot that and put it on my story. Like the bravery to send that to a girl that you don't know and haven't even met yet when she could screenshot it and put it online. Obviously, I'm not the type to do that. I'll just tell it on a podcast and keep him anonymous instead. But like, there's something wrong with you. Like, there's actually something wrong with you. Do you guys agree? Or like, is that like unfair? Because that to me, you're scaring me now because that's worrying behavior. So I ignore it. Then he messages me again and he goes, don't fall asleep on me. And then messages me the next morning at 12 p.m. or like the next day at midday and goes, I still want to see you. And then I just reply and go, I'm back next month. I'll drop you a message. And then he replied heart emojis. And that was the last time we ever spoke. Anyway, another guy that I messaged when I was in LA. This guy had already slid into my DMs in London. And I hate saying he slid into my DMs. Like the whole DM thing is just like, I don't want to meet someone like that. But yeah, he did slide into my DMs and he slid in with emojis as well, which is actually the worst thing ever. But I actually thought he was quite attractive. I kind of liked his vibe. I'd watched videos of him online. He had like a lot of like, I don't want to say this word, but it's the best way to describe it. He had a lot of swag about him. So I was like, you know what, I'll answer. But he was just giving me like not odd vibes, but just something wasn't quite right. And I think it was the moment that he was like, send me your passport. I want to fly you out now to where I am. And I was like, whoa. First of all, no. Like, I've been talking to you for like literally a few days and like we've not exchanged that many messages and you're like, send me your passport, I'm flying you out. No, because you're going to think I owe you and like I'm not being flown out like in that. It just scares me, okay? I'm actually a bit of a prude and like, it's just not my vibe. It was just fucking terrifying actually, to be honest. So I end up just saying no or whatever, but he still ends up messaging me. We're going back and forth a little bit. And then he actually ends up coming to London. And when he's in London, he messages me and he's like, can I take you out for dinner and drinks? And I'm like, there we go. That's more like it. Yes, you can. So he takes me out for dinner and drinks, but the dinner and drinks are in the hotel that he's staying at. So I'm like, okay, first of all, bait. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, didn't want to go far from home, did you, boy? So we're sat down, we're having drinks, but the hotel was gorgeous. I think it was called the Cadogan. Something like that. Cadogan, I don't know, but it was a Mayfair hotel, 5 stars, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. We sit down for drinks, and we actually get on really well because he's just I'm just like being so bluntly honest with him about everything that he's saying, because like I'm there for my own entertainment at that point. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just interesting getting to know him and like what his vibe would be like. And he's baiting out because he thought that like there was a woman sat opposite us and she's like looking at us, and he's like, is that woman staring at us? Is that she staring at us? Do you think she's a journalist? Is she taking any pictures of us? And I'm like, boy, calm down. Like, I know you like a billionaire or whatever, but like, trust me, like, even if she does, like, you know what I mean? What is the issue? Found out now that he actually has a wife. So that makes sense why he was baiting out about someone watching. I was in LA, so I'd already seen him loads and loads in London, and then he wanted to see me in LA. So he got me an Uber, like he got me this like Uber black SUV van to like come pick me up, and he's actually his driver, got his driver to come and pick me up and drive me to his home. He owned about 10 houses. Like he was also like Jay-Z and Beyoncé are like his best friends and all this kind of stuff. So he gets me a driver and he drives me out to his house, and it was like in this like hidden part of LA, like this like bougie as hell but like low-key neighborhood. And I arrive at his house and I'm like knocking on the door and I'm like, hi, like what is going on here? And he opens it and it's like one of his houses, but it's his like most private house. And he was like, I never like invite anyone here, by the way. He's like, you're literally like the first girl that I've invited here. And I'm like, I bet. So he's showing me around and like he's showing me everything, and like he's going so in detail, giving me a tour of this place. And he's like, do you like this couch? And I'm like, yeah, it's a nice couch. He's like, it's Bulgari. And I was like, okay, like, oh my God. And he was like showing me around, like just like telling me where everything is from. And I was like, this is why like dating men like that are like billionaires and stuff like that. First of all, like they'll always, maybe not always, but a majority of them will have a huge ego, especially when they've also got clout online and just like a whole combination of things. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure like about this, you know? And he's taking me around his apartment, not his apartment, sorry, his house. And he's like just showing me everything. He takes me into his garage where his Rolls Royce is parked and his like Lamborghini is parked. And then he's showing me around and he's like, it's actually quite funny looking back. Like I thought this was hilarious, but he's like being like, the lights come on and it's like this like insane lighting set up on in his garage. And it's like, this is a Lamborghini like SW3000. And I'm like, okay, like that's really nice. I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's a gorgeous color. Like I love the wrap on it, like stuff like that. And then he's like, and this is my Rolls Royce. And it's like, and this is my garage, like, and he's like doing a whole presentation, and then there's a power cut across the entire like village or like the entire area. There's a whole power cut and he's like, this is my garage, boom, lights go out and we're stranded in the dark in this garage. And it was just such a meme moment. Like if I could have like controlled them lights and turned them off in that moment, I would have done, because it was just hilarious. Anyway, we're in a full power cut, so he couldn't even drive me to the like Mexican restaurant that he wanted to take me to, because there was a power cut, which meant that he couldn't also open the garage doors, like because they were like run with electricity. Anyway, we go to his local what's called Mexican restaurant. That's his favorite. He's like, I've never taken anyone here before. All right. And we're sat down, we're eating, and the like restaurant knows him, like kind of thing, shaking hands with everyone in there. And I'm like, this is intense. And then at the end, we go back to his, and I stay the night. Again, don't even do anything. I literally never actually once ended up sleeping with this guy, which is like actually like crazy, like, and not crazy in that sense, but the crazy in the fact that he just wanted to keep seeing me. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, boy, like, or I guess it kind of makes sense, like, because you want what they can't have kind of thing. But he also was not pushy at all or anything like that. So I was like, what a respectful gentleman, with a huge ego though. Don't get me wrong, that was a problem. Anyway, we go back to his, open the door, and like his brother is there. So then he's introducing me to his brother, and I'm there in like a dress and heels, and he's like, this is like Millie, and his brother's like, hi, and I'm like, hi. I'm like, oh my God. Like, because the thing is, I later found out that this guy has DM'd so many girls on Instagram, obviously all influencer girls, but he's DM'd so many of them, or probably not that they all had to be influencer girls, but I just found out later that he had from all my influencer girlfriends. And I was literally like looking back, being like horrified at the fact that I was there, like stood next to him whilst his brother was there looking at me, because he was probably like, oh, whore number 542, how you doing, babe? Yeah, horrifying. And that's also why I'm so glad that I didn't sleep with him. LA had a mixture of experiences. It was honestly hell. It was also hilarious in terms of memories. Like, I'll do anything for the plot. And there was a lot of things that took place whilst I was in LA that were for the plot or ended up being a plot unintentionally. But I ended up leaving LA early. I was supposed to stay for an extra month on top of the time that I chose to leave, but I just had to get out. I felt like my soul was getting sucked out of my body, and it was such a dark place. Like, even Hollywood Boulevard, people think that that's gorgeous. You take your kids there during the day at like 2 p.m. Like, you know, you go and see all the Hollywood, like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Madame Tussauds. It looks like it's the dream holiday destination, and it's so amazing. You walk down Hollywood Boulevard after 7 p.m., you're lucky you don't get stabbed. Like, you cannot stay chill on the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, past 7 a.m. because someone asks you for a lighter, run for your life. They've got a knife or a gun. Actually, a gun. London's for knives, isn't it? But that actually was an experience I had with my friends. It was actually me, Rosie, Luke, Spencer, and Adam when we were on Hollywood Boulevard, and that happened. Also, Spencer stayed in an Airbnb on Hollywood Boulevard, and there was like a big group of us there, and it was like 4 a.m. and I'm looking over the balcony, and it's looking over onto Hollywood Boulevard. Dodgy shit was happening there. Oh my God. I don't know exactly what was happening. First of all, it's a ghost place, apart from crackheads. Also, they are talking to themselves, pacing the streets. And then obviously there's also like homeless people as well that are like kind of on Hollywood Boulevard, but they're staying more down the side streets. We were just down a side street, but you could still see Hollywood Boulevard. And on this side street, there was like a little shop that was open, and I don't know what was going on there, but there was police officers going in there. Then there were other civilians going in there, like a mixture of types of civilians going in there. Then they'd stay in there for ages. Then the police officers would come out, the civilians would come out, they'd be shaking hands, making deals. And there was I don't know what was going on, but I was like sat there, like hidden on the balcony, looking through the cracks, watching it all take place. And like, I'm not going to say what I think was going on there, but like, there's just wild stuff going on there. And I'm like, damn, the behind the scenes is wild of LA, because that's what happens on Hollywood Boulevard when the lights go down, you know? Dodgy place. Not the city of dreams. It's a dark place. I could feel it when I was there as well. That's why I had to leave early. I had to get out. It just was not sitting right with me there. And the longer I spent there, the more I felt my soul detaching from my body. And I was like, I need to keep that shit safe. So I left early. But overall, iconic experience. Many stories to tell, as I have done on this episode. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Keep It Private. There'll be more to come. And do not be shy. Let me know in the comment sections if there's any future episodes or stories that you want to hear from me. As I said, nothing is off limits, because absolutely nothing is kept private on this podcast. So anything you're curious about, anything you know from my past that you want the inside scoop on, let me know. Or even just anything you want me to address or talk about in general, go ahead, let me know. No limits. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next episode. Oh, my knee just cracked. I'm old. Thank you, guys. Bye.